How's it going, everyone? It is Monday, July 8th, 2024. Let's get into the picks from the last video. I mentioned AAP first on the short side as a day trade. Let's take a look at what SPY did and what AAP did. So here was the setup yesterday, or on Friday, I should say. You can see the market had a kind of a mildly bullish trend day. Had some pockets of volume, but kind of a lower volume rally throughout. AAP was a nice stock moving down. And I think I mentioned in the video, if it can crack through this low of the day, then that could be a pretty nice short. But we got a little poke through, but wasn't quite able to confirm it. And then we snapped back over here. And now the stock is pulling back a little bit on the D1. So AEP was a no trade. We had the setup ready, but we didn't get the entry candle that we wanted to on this trade. And the market was just a little bit too bullish on a day like that. The other pick was Walmart, another day trade, but on the long side here. And when the video came out, I mentioned that it had this nice breakdown. I wanted to see a retest of this level, but it looks like we never actually quite got it on this day. It may happen on today, actually, where this is sort of the pullback that we're seeing here, and it looks pretty weak. So Walmart was, even though this was a winner, I actually also didn't end up taking this because it kind of moved much farther. I didn't quite get that retest that I expected. And sometimes that happens. You get a breakthrough, get a little bit of pause at the new high of the day here, especially as the market, if we put the SPY overlay up over here, right? You can see how the stock is climbing up higher while the market is moving down. And as soon as the market finds some support, the stock actually makes a new high of the day right over here before the market does. And then we get that next leg higher. Market stalls, the stock grinds out a little bit higher, and then we start to see some sharp profit taking. So Walmart also a no trade because even though this was a winner, we didn't get the setup that we wanted to. So this was one of the misses that we had, but that is okay. So both of those are no trades. Let's take a look at AMD. So AMD is causing our call credit spread a few problems. Let's take a look at this D1 chart. So we got on the trade, it went a little bit ahead of us with this green candle. This day was fine, but then the problem day was really on the 5th, where we broke through the 200-day SMA on heavy volume. And it did go up with the market a little bit today, but we broke up and closed above that level, which I didn't quite like. Now, I wasn't panicking on the day because I knew that, all right, we have to confirm above this level, and we have to at least open it, get above this high, and actually start to rally above it. And that's actually kind of what is happening right now. So this stock, it gapped up over here, came back, tested the high of the day, found some support, and then started to launch off and make a new high of the day. So the stock is very bullish, and I'm certainly quite bullish on the stock, and my original bias of a call credit spread is invalidated. The thing that makes it interesting is what is our market bias. Now, our market bias is mildly bullish, and we do suspect that there could be a dip coming in. I don't know when that dip is going to happen, but we know this is a light volume rally, lots of slow moving candles, not a lot of movement either way. So the risk is if I do end up going long and we get a long red candle, a gap up long red candle, then I might be in a world of pain. So that's the balance over here. And ideally, when I do these types of breakouts, I like to have either the stock breaking out to a new stock breaking technical levels and the market breaking technical levels. Right now, I'm not as bullish on the market, and what we really have to think about is if the market goes down, what is AMD going to do? Do I think it's going to resist that level? I'm not sure. So there's two options here. One is I could just hold on to the trade, and I could simply oops, that's the wrong one. I could hold on to the trade and just simply wait to see if it can come back around, see if it's going to drop back over here, come for this retest. Or I can see, so that's one scenario here. It really depends on whether I think this call credit spread is going to expire worthless, or if I can even scratch out of the trade if it comes in a little bit lower. I just needed to close below the 170 level. And there is a chance it could do that if it goes on a retest of this 200-day SMA. But this is a pretty key decision point. So I am going to wait closer to the end of the day, but my bias is leaning towards legging out of this spread. I think we made a pretty powerful move. We made a new high of the day here. And if I zoom out a little bit on these charts, you can see how we've had a pretty nice run up, although the market has also been pretty nice as well. So what I'm probably going to do on AMD is wait for some sort of a pullback on this stock on the intraday chart, and then enter off of that pullback, and then look to take a nice quick trade, more of like an overnight swing, if you will, on this trade, and see if we can get up on what's it called? Get up all the way to this next resistance level around 180. You can see that there's some price reaction over here. So that's kind of the level that I'm watching for. That could be a nice entry for profit target. And I would also make sure that I'm just kind of doing the math on these. So I know that what's the price I need to actually break even on the trade. So right now the trade is down about $2. So I paid $1 of credit. I'm down $2. So I end up being down $100 on that. So I would need to get $1 to make up that difference. And I actually won't get the credit necessarily because I'm legging out of the spread. Although I have to probably look into that a little bit more. The point is that this is a key decision point on legging out. If you're unsure about legging out, I'll just say hold through it. Be ready to take the max loss. I'm trying to find the right situation on SPY and the stock to warrant legging out, and I think that is setting up here. So I'm going to set an alert on AMD and see if I can enter on an intraday pop or an intraday pullback here. So let's set our LRSI. Actually, I have a custom alert set here, so I can just do that. Bull M5 LRSI. Okay. So that's how we're going to manage AMD. The key thing here is even though the trade is going against us, if you take the loss, you take the loss, right? You have to accept the loss when you put on the trade. So SPY D1, we are still, everything is kind of still as it was before. Our long-term bias fundamentally and technically is still mildly bullish. There hasn't been a lot of story-changing points in the last few weeks. And part of me feels like a broken record, keep saying it, but you know, that's really what happens in some of these periods. It doesn't, market long-term bias doesn't change every day. It does take a few months to change, but there are some very key points that cause it to change, some key story points that can that matter more than other days. On a shorter term basis, this is mildly bullish, but we made a new all-time high. The volume has been very, very light. I am quite cautious if we are going to advance higher or if we're actually going to start to leak down a little bit lower. If we zoom into today, and let's maybe zoom into the M30 chart first, just see what's going on. Here's a new all-time high. Tested that, or new all-time high. We tested that, rejected off it, found some support, and then we had a very, very, it's a low volume, but a nice orderly price action rally through this level, which I think was just a little bit unexpected. It was hard to trust that this sort of light volume would kind of break through this level as much. But I know that we're closer to the end of the SPY move than the beginning of the SPY move. And what's it called? The risk of the pullback is even more elevated now that we are approaching the end of this phase. So now let's zoom into the M5 chart. Yesterday we had a mildly bullish trend day. It was going up higher, but some kind of more dubious, low volume, weak price action. You can see that there's just a couple of pops, pauses, pops, pauses. So you had to actually get in on SPY on those pauses. Today we had a gap up, made a new all-time high, poked above it right here, 556.25. Got the sell signal, filled in the gap over here, found a little bit of support, probed a little bit lower, and then we found some support right around 544. Came back, tested VWAP, and now we are struggling to advance past VWAP. We got a bearish 1OP cross here. This is fairly low probability. This is mildly bearish, I would say a -1 bearish. If we look at some of the sectors coming up over here, it looks like comms and energy are pretty weak. Financials was actually a little bit stronger earlier in the day and then has started to sell off. Tech has remained pretty well. So a bit of a mix of stuff. You can see that there's a lot more sections that are green on the day than red on the day. So there's a little bit more bullish market breadth. If we take a look at some of the mega cap tech stocks, it was a little bit weaker of the day, and now there's some strength. Nvidia is doing okay. Apple has got a bit of a bid, now green on the day. There seems to be some profit taking. There was some nice strength in those stocks last week. And semis is very, very strong today. You can see that's up 2%. It's at the top of its range. TLT is also doing decent. So that is really what's been strong today in terms of pockets of strength. But comms are pretty weak. Finance discretionary are pretty weak. RSP, that's our even weighted stock. That's a little bit up. So that tells us that there is some bullish breadth. So what the market components are telling me is that there is some strong tech and some decent breadth. So the market components are a little bit more bullish, but the price action is a little bit more bearish. So how do we game plan this for today? Well, it's pretty late in the day. We could do a day trade, but let's see if we can find a pretty nice overnight swing, a really, really strong stock at a great entry point that's going to kind of ignore the market for the next day or two. Okay, I have my pick for today. It is going to be SMCI. Let's look at this D1 here. Not the strongest D1, but we're going for a fairly quick move here. Stock is in a wide bullish trend. We have earnings on the 18th. We also have some tech earnings, some semis earnings coming up next week. We have, I think, ASML is coming up, and as well as TSM. So we're breaking through this 200-day moving average. We found some support at the bottom of the channel, and we're kind of through a lot of these levels here. So we have some room until this 968 level, as well as even the top of this range, which we want to get over here, somewhere around 1035. So I like SMCI. I like this long pick. Semis have been pretty strong. And it's made a very nice move today, considering the fact that the market has been pretty weak. You can see that it broke through its 200-day SMA, and we'll take off the SPY overlay right now. Broke through the 200-day SMA, came back, retested it, tried to get up higher, another retest, and then we finally actually managed to get a little bit higher. So I have an LRSI alert set. If it can hold the gains and get close to the end of the day here, that's probably where I'm going to enter the trade for a nice overnight swing. I think there's a nice potential for an ATR move here. So that's probably going to be my target. This stock may take a day or two, and then it'll start to ramp up over there. So that's what I'm watching for on these breakouts. If it can't quite hold this level, it falls back in, then we have to take the loss. So that is going to be my pick of the day, SMCI as an overnight swing. We're going to lean on this 200-day support. And here's a condition. We have to close very near this high of the day. See how this range here is about 80%? I want to see it close in that upper 80% of that range. If it starts to pull back too much, if we're kind of closing somewhere around here, I'm not going to take the trade. I didn't see the strength of that breakout that I wanted to see on this stock. So thanks everyone for watching. We'll see what the market does today. We'll see what AMD does. We're not going to make any rash decisions. We have a game plan. We know what we want to see. We just have to see if those scenarios play out for both AMD and SMCI. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we will take a look at our picks in the next video.